And we're underway from inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. In tennis circles, Jill, we know full well Maria Sharapova, one of the highest earning female athletes in the world in any sport. She certainly has that marquee name and that value, but if she's an A-lister in those circles, she only has an A game. There's no plan B. There's only one way she performs. That's hard, fast, flat balls, just swinging for the fences. Conversely, for Wozniacki, there's a little bit more variation, and it seems of late she's starting to add a few different wrinkles to try to take on the elite players.
That's another reason why makes Sharapova so impressive is she's able to balance everything that's going on in her personal life with how many businesses she's getting involved with, and she is an entrepreneur now, and to be able to still come out here and stay as focused as she does is very impressive.
Make a good point, because if anybody seems to have been groomed for the spotlight, it seems to be Maria. So many questions and so much attention to her off-court exploits, both with her endorsements and her personal life and socially. But she just dismisses all of that and keeps everything between the lines when she's on the tennis court. Never really allows her focus to waver.
And I'm sure the tennis is an outlet for her too, to get away from all that, and she can come out here and just focus on what she's best at.
Now, for Wozniacki, she's come under a lot of scrutiny because of her personal life, and we won't really delve into that, but more importantly for her tennis life, she seems to be making some subtle changes. She's always been terrific at being able to be a retriever, a backboard, putting the ball back in play, but those wrinkles I spoke of, there's been a couple subtle changes that seem to have helped raise her level of play lately. And dare I say, she's become a bit more aggressive and has put to you, maybe even a little more, not as allergic as coming to the net as she used to be.
Well, I think there's a couple things. I think her serve has definitely improved in the last year. I think she's gotten fitter, so even though she moved well before, I think her movement's even better now. And I also think she's taking a little bit more risk.
And Sharapova misses the mark with a forehand, trying to battle back into the opening game, but can't do so. And Caroline Wozniacki, the 10 seed, gives herself a 1-love lead. Well, don't forget, we would like to hear from you here at our coverage of the U.S. Open. We encourage your input. Join the discussion at US Optimum 2014. Or you could say at US Optimum 2014. Joe, whatever's your preference. Tell us what you think of the match, the matchup itself, who you think might win. You can even predict the score. There's no prize, but we perhaps would send a little shout out to you for your input on Twitter. Once again, the address at US Optimum 2014. So Sharapova down to the south end now. The sun's starting to tuck again behind this gray skies overhead. We've had beautiful weather up to this point. Absolutely sublime. With just one day, Wednesday, exceeding 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Everything else has been uncharacteristically cool and fine and gorgeous. Today, a bit sticky. I think I know the answer, Jill, but it's my job sometimes to pose questions to you. So I wonder, now that we've seen 6 days of gorgeous weather that have been dry and very even. With the humidity in the air that's so heavy, does that have an impact on this match for either player? Does it give either an advantage?
I think it definitely has an impact on players in general, especially when the conditions have changed so much from one day to the next. But I think in this case, in this match, I think both players, their stamina is so good. And you rarely see either one of these players getting tired or cramping, that in this particular match, I don't think it's going to be quite a factor. That's where Wozniacki is dangerous, just moving the ball down the court. I think she's doing a better job so far. She used to be a pretty predictable player where she hit a lot of cross-court shots off the forehand and the backhand and waited for her opportunities, but she seems to be mixing it up a little bit more right now.
Talked about, Jill, the fact that she's an A-lister in name, but there is no plan B for Sharapova. Talk about that risk for reward sort of aspect of just hitting big all the time. She sticks with it, never wavers. Already 6 unforced errors for Sharapova. A chance for Wozniacki to get ahead 2-love, relying on those gifts early.
To get to your question, I think that's a strength of Sharapova, but I also think it can be a weakness because she has the type of game where she can overpower, and she comes out and she's going to play her game. Her game is to go after her shots, take some risks, and that's her style, and she gets away with it a lot. But I think if something is off, if she's not feeling quite right, it can also be a weakness because the errors can come, especially against a consistent player like Wozniacki. She had her. It's a good forehand down the line shot, and that's what I was talking about earlier. She's mixing it up much better. She used to go to rely on that forehand cross court and just keep forehand cross court, but there she mixed it up well with the down the line shot. She had the opening, but just overdid it a little bit.
There'll be a third try for Caroline to get the upper hand through 2 games. And there's the forehand through the court. Sharapova, no chance to close in, and Caroline Wozniacki able to convert her 3rd break point for a 2-love start.
It's your game still up. First set.
Well, Wozniacki does have to remember she played a terrific match 4 years ago. Round of 16, 2010 U.S. Open. And here she finds herself in the 4th round in 2014. If she can sort of dial the time machine back, go back to that well-constructed victory in straight sets, which she won 6-3, 6-4, she'll have a pretty good chance today. But I think, Jill, you said something very key about that. One of Wozniacki's 2 victories in 7 meetings with Sharapova is that she's probably even more fit, as well as her tennis IQ has risen.
Yes, absolutely. Both mentally, just her strategy is a little bit different already from the first couple games. She's not as predictable. She's moving the ball around a little bit more, using more areas of the court, and keeping Sharapova on the move, which is key against Sharapova. You want to keep her on the move. You want to get her on the stretch. And that's been working so far the first couple games. Sharapova definitely doesn't make it easy to do that because she hits the ball with such great power and great depth. But so far, Wozniacki doing a good job of mixing it up, and when she gets her opportunity, stepping into the court. But Maria, great backhand cross court there. Really turned well on that backhand side.
I broke out a word earlier to describe Caroline Wozniacki's latest sort of mindset and how she approaches game, a word that was not associated with her prior, and that's aggressiveness. And she seems to be with Father Piotr, who is serving as her coach as well, that they have finally decided that, yes, Caroline has to find a way. She can't just be back retrieving and force errors from her opponents. Some of that has to do with the ground strokes being far more penetrating, better depth, better speed, and hey, that's a second ace already. She could go a whole tournament without hitting 2 aces a couple years back.
Well, I think that style of tennis worked well for her for a while because she was relatively new on the tour, so people didn't really get used to the type of game she played, but that only lasts for so long. Once you play players over and over again, they get used to your style and can figure you out. So she had to change something.
Fantastic effort to get to 3-love. We'll see Sharapova's response as the round of 16 underway on day 7. Bright, sunshiny day with a lot of steaminess. It's a bit of a steam bath in New York City on this middle Sunday, not only of the tournament itself, but a 3-day weekend in the United States. Wherever you're watching around the world, we appreciate it, whether you're in South Africa, the Philippines, India. Social marketing department says we're hearing from all over the globe, as well as here in the United States, watching this contest between 2 former #1s, Maria Sharapova and Caroline Wozniacki. But it's been one-sided to this point. Sharapova broke it in her only service game, trying to get on the scoreboard. By the way, there was a not-so-subtle reminder from our social media department to tell us where you're watching from. If you do send us a tweet at US Optimum 2014. Some tweets already coming in expressing a lot of interest, a lot of predictions. As I said, South Africa as well as the heart of Africa. All over the world viewing an intriguing encounter between these two women. Winner to face Sarah Rani in the last 8. Victorious earlier today against the Croatian Lucic Baroni.
I think Caroline thought that one's just a little bit long. I actually thought it went long myself, but she's not going to challenge. first kind of loose error that we've seen from Wozniacki so far this match. He's playing a pretty clean match in these first few games. Great job by Sharapova moving into the court. It's a great deep ball here and just steps in, really takes advantage of that Wozniacki short ball.
Yeah, there is a considerable breeze, to say the least, blowing in from the south end. But it's not helping dissipate any of this humidity that has made it somewhat stagnant. There is a heaviness in the air, and both women are playing under the WTA extreme heat rule. Just finds the outside of the line, and Sharapova's on the board. Her first ace gets her her first game. 18 minutes in. Look from the South Plaza up towards the flag that is blowing towards the north, towards the section that Maria Sharapova has her back to now. We do remind you that usopen.org is your site for all information on the 2014 US Open. Live score updates. You can see the draws, how things fare, stories about the tournament as it unfolds. All available at usopen.org. And just to make a mention of what that means for this match specifically, at 1 p.m., the wet bulb index was at 30.6 degrees Celsius. That means the extreme heat weather policy is in effect for this match, with exceptional temperatures, high humidity. If it goes 3 sets, that's where the big difference could come in. Good stab from Wozniacki, but no problem as Sharapova moves to the middle of the court for the put away.
And Kevin, going back to when you were talking about the weather a little bit, the fact that it is a lot more humid today can affect the way the ball travels through the air. The US Open tends to use lighter balls, which means it can go pretty fast through the air, but when there's added humidity, it really slows the ball down. So that can really be an advantage to Wozniacki, who likes to play longer points.
And the way it can impact this match is that if it goes to a decider between the second and third sets, if either player or both request, they can have a 10-minute break before play begins in that third set. It's part of the rules that the WTA puts in place to protect the players from extreme heat, and that rule is in effect. Sharapova is starting to heat up, trying to make inroads against Wozniacki's serve. See if she can get a break point for the first time in these early stages. That's nice hands, and that's an aspect of Wozniacki's current form that we hadn't seen in years prior.
Great job by Wozniacki here. Takes her time on this approach shot. She sees Sharapova guesses right, but just stays with the volley so well. She made that volley look easier than it was.
Sharapova does have her first break point.
30-40.
Great job by Wozniak there. Really had a good serve. Good choice to slice this. The ball was pretty low. And the reason she's able to hit that volley so well is because she moves forward to the net. She really closes the net and just cuts off that angle.
Gave herself ample opportunity to extend. Just smothering the net, puts it away. 3 of 4 when coming to the middle of the court thus far for Caroline. But more importantly, break point saved. She'll have to contend with another as Sharapova drills another winner. The gap starting to close between winners and unforced errors. It was significant to start. 1.1 winner to 6 unforced errors. Now that's her 6th winner versus 9 miscues. And the break is hers. The lead can't be held by Wozniacki, and we're back on serve in the opening set. A battle between two former number ones.
3 games to 2, first set.
A lot of passion for the sport of tennis around the world, particularly for the big names, and one who elicits so much passion is Maria Sharapova. It's almost that sort of polarizing effect. You're either with Maria or you're sternly against her. For whatever reason, the Twitter sphere is no different. And you add to the mix, a little sprinkling in of sunshine, Caroline Wozniacki. Boy, the Twitter world is on fire. We asked you for your questions and comments about this matchup, hearing from places from Africa, Singapore, Pakistan, Trinidad, saying they're enjoying the coverage as well. Sharapova right back in it. She's broken, serving to try to get to 3-all.
Wozniacki just doing such a great job at the net right now. She's really incorporated that part of her game into her tennis. Great. She recognizes Sharapova's out of position. Just perfect short volley off the court. Wozniacki doing a good job of returning Sharapova's serve right now. I think the point before, Sharapova got a little bit surprised with such a deep return. Great aggressive playing by Sharapova here, really setting up well for that forehand ball. Sees Wozniacki out of position and just smart choice to take that last ball out of the air.
30-40.
Wozniacki's bid to break back being stymied somewhat by some aggressive play by Sharapova, who usually really just anchors herself on the baseline, drawn in and taking the ball out of the air. 2 break points saved. Still has 1 left to contend with. And the danger averted, at least for the moment, and that's tough for Wozniacki.
Yeah, Wozniacki will be disappointed with that miss. Break point, that's her strong side, that backhand side. She just popped up a little bit too much, a little bit too high. She needed to keep her legs a little bit lower. Great shot by Sharapova here. She was really moving around the court, but what made the difference is she moved toward that ball and gave Wozniacki less time to react, but really just overpowered her on that particular shot.
Yeah, the depth just almost painting the line from triple break point to a chance for 3-all. So much for that. Back to deuce. Second double fault of this opening frame. And the tussle for the 6th game continues.
Again, Sharapova getting stuck on that middle return that Wozniacki tends to hit. Really just got caught, didn't really move her feet on that.
Fourth try for Wozniacki to get to 4-2 is denied by Sharapova, who's really starting to find the measure of the court.
And Sharapova definitely looking a little bit more comfortable swinging through the ball. She started off a little bit hesitant, but that's credit to Wozniacki. Wozniacki started off strong, taking a little bit more risk. At that point, Wozniacki a little bit more defensive.
Off the frame of Caroline as the return drifts wide. Sharapova just might be able to answer the 3-game run that began the match by Wozniacki. It's already by far the longest exchange as far as games in this opening set. Make it points and duration, but Sharapova, ever worthy. She loves the battle. She loves the fight, and she has evened it with 3 games in a row of her own.
And that's a strong comeback from Sharapova. Wozniacki really came out firing, playing a little bit more risky tennis. Sharapova definitely upped her game, a little bit higher level in the last 3 games, served a little bit better, was a little bit more consistent.
So back to the drawing board for Caroline Wozniacki. Her 3-love start. That's gone. Maria has seen to that, and Caroline has to be careful not to let all the momentum slip away. The edge right now for Sharapova, as she has really found a way to even her level of play after a very sloppy start. Caroline coming off a pretty strong summer. Cincinnati reached the semifinals, lost to the eventual champion Serena Williams, but really played a tough 3-set match that made a lot of people sit up and take notice in what's been pretty one-sided contest between the two. Caroline put up a lot of resistance. Many thinking, okay, this is Caroline's time perhaps to really shine at the US Open once again, and she's performed well to get to this round of 16 encounter. That's just one of 4 semifinal appearances in Dubai, Monterrey, and Eastbourne, the other 3. And you can also include the semifinal run in Istanbul, where she won that match, went on to take the title.
And you can see why Sharapova has come back a little bit in these last few games. You see the dynamic changing a little bit. Caroline looking a little bit more on her back foot. Sharapova stepping into the court a little bit more, going for shots a little bit more than she did at the beginning of the match.
Run in Istanbul to the title, by the way, her 22nd title of her career and the first of 2014, the only one, but it does make it 8 consecutive years now. Mind you, 7 consecutive years that Caroline has been able to capture at least 1 title. She had the marvelous output in 2010 and 2011, where she won 6 titles in each of those years. Of course, was #1 in the world during much of that run.
Wozniacki.
Reclaims the lead. After a
Please.
slip of 3 consecutive games, she's back out in front. The 10 seed over the 5 seed in Arthur Ashe Stadium. Back in New York City, the borough of Queens. 5 boroughs make up the metropolis that is New York City. Most people associate it with the borough of Manhattan, where the skyline is iconic around the world. There's also Staten Island. There's the Bronx. There's Brooklyn, to go along with Manhattan and Queens. Flushing Meadows resides here, near Astoria. Wonderful restaurants, nightlife. Oh yeah, and tennis, August and September of each year. And some of the best fans in the world. They're boisterous, they're loud, they're excitable. And right now they're enjoying Caroline Wozniacki and Maria Sharapova on a hot, humid Sunday afternoon. Last day of August. Sharapova fell behind love 3 to start the match, made up 3 games of her own, and now she's serving to keep pace with Wozniacki in this opening set. It's been intriguing, Jill, to watch the carousel a bit of coaches and different names that have been associated with each and gone back and forth. Caroline Wozniacki has been working with Team Adidas, and of course an employee of that for a while was Sven Gronefeld. But now you look over in Sharapova's box. There's Sven, just sitting there, smiling bright, happy to be with the 5 seed and former #1 Sharapova.
It's not a surprise, really, that the players and coaches see each other all the time. Everybody knows everybody. Everyone's interacting with each other. And a lot of times you get a feel for if you think someone can help you a little bit better than your current coach. And sometimes if things aren't going well, you need a change. You feel like you need a fresh start. So it's no surprising that sometimes there are switches like that back and forth.
Caroline may be taking a page from Maria's book, because earlier in the year she worked with Thomas Hogstead,
Right.
who, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost like deja vu. Last year you were looking at
right.
Maria's box, and there was Thomas helping coach Sharapova for an extended run before they severed ties last year.
And a lot of times the coach, sometimes you feel like the coach you have is great for you, but
40,
if someone particularly says something in a certain way and all of a sudden it creates a spark, you never know when that's going to happen. And that could have happened talking with another coach in the players' lounge or wherever. And then all of a sudden that's where the switches come and you feel good with somebody. So it makes sense to switch at that point.
Maybe the switch helped Sharapova with Gronefeld, because she did win Roland Garros this year. That was a nice little injection of enthusiasm to help her, as she also will feel pretty pleased with her performance for 4-all. There's a view of the gray skies overhead that are different from the first 6 days we saw here in New York City. There is a chance of showers later tonight that could impact the night session. Tomorrow, Labor Day, a day off for most of the United States in honor of American workers and their efforts. National holiday, hoping that rain doesn't have a significant impact tomorrow as well. So you talk about a different voice, a little different perspective for Caroline Wozniacki, not only working with Hogstead this year, but also Michael Mortensen before all things were scrapped. And it's just, let's go back to Dad. Familiar voice, Peter Wozniacki. He has been in her camp even when Gronefeld and Team Adidas was around. Hogstead, Mortensen. Piotr always seems to be omnipresent.
He's been such great support for her throughout her career when she started and through this time in her career and up till now. And so he's been a great presence for her. He's really supported her, been pretty positive.
Interesting to see the transition too after the coaching changes with Piotr coming back, and Caroline now used to just sit there and just weather the soliloquies, the monologues during encore coaching at other events, the WTA premieres and so forth. Now she speaks her mind a little bit, interrupts them a time or two. There's more of a discourse as opposed to just one-way traffic.
Well, I was just thinking that because she's always been looking over at her support group, her box all the time, and now she feels to me like she has a little bit more of a confidence coming from within herself. And I think that's been a difference for her this year.
Without question. And the results of late seem to indicate that that self-belief is starting to give her a boost. She liked it, and
what
she says,
Maria,
I'm going to run in the New York Marathon in November. Thanks for the training. I'm happy to go side to side.
That was perfectly placed. You couldn't have asked for a more perfect shot from Wozniacki, right on the line, just out of Maria's reach. And that's what she's best at right there.
Sharapova trying to make her advances. Wozniacki holding her off for the time. Point away from putting herself back to the lead. Applying some scoreboard pressure to the Russian. And she's got that 5-4 lead. Sharapova will serve to prolong the opening set. Otherwise, it goes to Caroline.
5 games to 4 for
as they battled for a spot amongst the last 8 at the U.S. Open. Pretty solid start for Caroline Wozniacki. She took the opening 3 games of the first set, was able to hold off Sharapova to reclaim the lead. She's +1 in the differential, 8 winners to 7 unforced errors. But no surprise, it's Maria who's dictating play, going for the big shots, has produced 4 more winners with 12, but 10 more unforced errors, 17. Serving to stay in set number 1. Trio of double faults on the day. Sharapova not starting off as she wishes to in this 10th game.
Again, a return more down the middle from Wozniacki. That tends to be working so far for her this match.
Maria's going to supply 19 unforced errors, keep it well within the lines, and let Maria hit her way out, be her own worst enemy. Back to the form that saw Wozniacki take those first 3 games. One thing about Maria you can say, though, and maybe it's a good thing, she's stubborn. She's just going to go with what has supplied her so much success over her career.
She's the type of player that even if you have triple break point against her, you never feel like the game is in your hands necessarily. She's always going to compete, fight hard, and she can come up with winning shots like that.
That's just a tough miss for Maria. She got a great first step to move to the middle of the court and had a lot of room to work with, real estate on both sides, but just overshoots the mark. And Caroline Wozniacki, double set point.
Well, I was just going to say that's credit to Wozniacki's movement as well. Sharapova feels like she needs to hit it more towards the lines because Caroline retrieves so well.
Support of Caroline Wozniacki trying to end a 3-match slide to Maria Sharapova. She has the first set in pocket, trying to get to the Elite 8 in New York City. Caroline Wozniacki takes the opening set 6-4, but if you say one thing about Maria Sharapova, a 1-set lead is not only not insurmountable, but she is also, well, she looks at that as a personal challenge. This season, she has played an abundance of 3-set matches, and more often than not, she comes out on the winning end. It has been unbelievable to watch Sharapova just find that next gear. When it seems as if she's down and out, she says, "Excuse me, I'm Maria Sharapova. I've been #1 in the world. I own a title at each of the 4 majors, and fight is my middle name." Well, we'll see if she can use that middle name to her advantage as she seeks to come back from a set down against Caroline Wozniacki.
She doesn't even look like she's lost the first set here, bouncing around, ready to go.
Well, she has to feel as if she was in it. She knows full well that it was just a little falter at the end of the set as Wozniacki begins the second frame. It looked for a moment like it would be one-sided as Wozniacki took the first 3 games, but it was only a single break. From that point on, relatively even.
And you know that about Sharapova. She's had so many 3-set matches this year, being down, coming back, winning those 3-set matches, that even if you're down 3-love in a first set, you feel like there's definitely a possibility of her coming back in that first set, which she did for a moment, but good challenge from Wozniacki to come back and close that set out.
Just an example that Maria has gone the distance of 3 sets in 7 of her last 10 matches. Including her matchup in the second round here against Ogero, where she lost the opening set 6-4. Important.
Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Well, I was going to say important. Maybe going to pick up where you were about to lead. Important for Wozniacki to get a good start here in set number 2.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. We're on the same page.
See? A mind meld with Joe Travis. Because of the fact that Sharapova can be such a threat late in matches. And you're never across the line until that last point against her.
Good job from Sharapova here. Again, stepping into the court, creating less time for Wozniacki.
And the more time she can take away, the harder it is for Caroline, who does move so well, to really get over, get a racket on ball. Maria blasting her 15th winner of the match. Sharapova at her best.
Exactly. You don't want Sharapova controlling the point from that backhand side. She has such good body turn on that backhand. Great down the line shot here, and really just again stepping into the court. Doesn't even have to go for the line. Just has enough power on that shot to put it past Wozniacki.
Missed chance for Sharapova to grab the upper hand, at least for the moment here. And so important for Caroline to hold serve, put herself to the lead, take care of the things she can control. Sharapova is starting to feel far more comfortable in being able to dictate how the course of a point will go. I mean, she's going to swing away regardless. But now that she has found that those lines aren't as tight as she appeared to have them when she was committing all those unforced errors in the opening set, the court has widened up considerably. And another driving forehand return, a good meter, maybe even 1.5 meters inside the baseline to get to another break point.
And you made a good point, Kevin, especially with Sharapova making so many unforced errors in the beginning of the match. You want to bring your targets in a little bit. You don't have to aim for the line until you find your rhythm. And you've noticed that the winners that she hit, they've been far into the court, not so close to the line. She's finding her range.
And there's the break. Wozniacki, disgusted with herself, slams a ball to the surface, knowing she had the chance to get to 1-love, and Maria denies her that opportunity. So Sharapova already a step in the right direction in her effort to come back from a set down. And that set, how did it look statistically? Jill Kravis, explain.
Well, Sharapova has the higher first serve percentage, but Wozniacki returned so well in that beginning first set. So that was definitely an advantage for her, and that's why she came away with the first set. Sharapova more winners, but again, it was the unforced errors that cost her that first set. Triple the unforced errors from that Wozniacki had with Wozniacki had only 7 to Sharapova's 21. So that was the really big difference in the first set.
How big a fighter is Maria Sharapova when she needs to go 3 sets, or particularly, more importantly, as pertains to this match when she's down a set? This is her 51st match of the year, and she'll need it to be her 21st to go the full distance of 3 sets. A 17-3 record when going to a decider, including, get this, after running through the opening 3 rounds at Roland Garros this year without dropping a single set. In order to capture the trophy there, her last 4 rounds all were 3-set matches. Now that includes her round of 16 encounter with Samantha Stosur, her quarterfinal against Garbiñe Muguruza, and her semifinal against Eugenie Bouchard. She lost the opening set in all 3 of those matches to book herself into the final against Simona Halep.
So she's not feeling too bad right now.
Yeah, this
is
not
standard procedure.
This is not a stressful moment for Maria. What, first set? You got it? Okay. Well, let's see how you fare through the course of the next 2.
Dane.
60 minutes have elapsed. That means we're in it for the long haul. Just 11 games played, now into the 12th. Sharapova seeks a 2-love start of her own.
Sharapova just getting a little bit caught on that. She did a good job moving into the court, but just reached a little bit too much.
$23,000 when the biggest tennis-only stadium in the world is filled to capacity. Not there today on this Sunday, but still a lot of interest and a lot of spectators plugged in, wanting to see the exchange between these 2 former number 1s. And don't forget, Jill, there's an important point to be made about Arthur Ashe Stadium in the coming future. There will be a roof over the stadium. They said it couldn't be done, but the USTA has found a way, and by 2018, if not sooner, the roof will be over Arthur Ashe Stadium. And that's good for 2 reasons. Tonight there is a threat of rain for the night session, which could delay or interrupt proceedings. The other aspect is going to make it more, well, echo-friendly, or not friendly, if you will.
There's been a lot of talk about putting a roof on this stadium for a few years now, and now they're finally in the process of getting the construction underway. I think it's going to scheduled to be finished around 2016, but the stadium is so big, it's going to be a massive accomplishment to get that finished.
Also one slated at Louis Armstrong Stadium. They're going to move the grandstand from the east over to the west, over by the West Stadium, courts 4, 5, and 6. As I was alluding to, some of our viewers that are responding with Twitter comments are saying, wow, it's going to be even more of an echo inside Arthur Ashe Stadium. Is Maria Sharapova going to be scheduled in there? You bet she will be. And a challenge will come from Sharapova. She thinks she has her 2nd game of this set in pocket. Maria Cicak says the Chase review We'll see as to whether or not this did indeed sail long. That's what Sharapova was hoping for. Called good. Oh, and it was.
I'm not so sure Sharapova was completely 100% sure that was out, but it was a good challenge. I mean, it was close enough to challenge that for the game.
Close enough.
It was close enough, yeah.
2 challenges remaining.
Tip of a pencil couldn't do the separation there. I mean, it was just barely on that line. Finds its way, and Wozniacki says, right where I aimed it. Devastating.
Just great exchange from both players there. Really high quality tennis. Sharapova just loves that backhand side. She just does a good job stepping in, creates such a good angle there. And just too strong for Wozniacki to even react.
Caroline's reply, all Maria had to do, a little stutter step. It was right in her wheelhouse. She just slams it through the open court. 7th winner in this set.
Seventh winner in this set.
Yeah, it's a far cry. She only had 13 winners in total in set number 1. So already more than half. Productivity far more impressive. But having a bit of difficulty getting to 2-love. Four aces, excuse me, 1 ace, 4 double faults. That would be a far cry from what Maria's been able to put out, and it's a better percentage of late. She doesn't seem to be bitten by the double fault bug as often as she did, say, 3-4 years ago, but it still creeps in from time to time. Significant to some degree is, remember, Sharapova didn't play the U.S. Open last year, and she's had her problems because of her right shoulder. That was significant in 2013, and a couple years ago had reconstructive surgery to get that shoulder back in shape.
And you always know she's capable of throwing in those double faults. So as a returner, you want to take a step in on her first serve, especially her second serve, take a step in, try and create more pressure that way.
And despite the long duration of the second game, Wozniacki's momentum from the opening set has come to a screeching halt. Sharapova, 2-love in set number 2.
And so far the difference, Sharapova's really cut down on her unforced errors this set. She's found her range a little bit. She brought in her targets, and that's what was happening in the first set. She was going for a little bit too much. So she's found the middle of the court more and waited for her opportunities to step up. But even when she has that short ball, she's still aiming more in the middle of the court. And that's what's helped her cut down on those unforced errors.
And for Caroline Wozniacki, she seems to be far more defensive now as the latter stages of set number 1 and the beginning of the second frame are going on. Before, she was able to sort of use her defensive maneuvering to get to the middle court, be a bit more aggressive, put some offensive strategies in play. But now she seems to be more at the whim of Sharapova and her being able to dictate the point. That's a good sign from Caroline to sort of regroup here.
I think Sharapova thought this ball was out, so she kind of half went for it, but
tried to use the left hand as well, just sort of found that outside corner.
Sharapova really attacking the Wozniacki second serve there. Creates such a great angle on this shot, and then really, again, just steps into the court. Again, not towards the line, but in the middle of the court. Doesn't have to be so good where you have to aim for the line.
Just long, and Wozniacki in a bit of danger here. This is exactly playing into Sharapova's hands. The shift in momentum, working its way towards an identical start in set number 2 as the opening set. The only difference, the name in front. Wozniacki, a 3-love start in the first frame. Sharapova point away from matching that in set number 2.
Well, just what you said from the beginning, Kevin, a lot of this match has been on Sharapova's racket. Wozniacki up in the first set because of Sharapova's unforced errors, but also credit to Wozniacki, very consistent play. But again, Sharapova ahead now because she's cut down on those errors.
Advantage, Sharapova.
Maria 2 of 5 today in conversions of break points. 3 of 6 would sit mighty nice with her. And Wozniacki up against it. The second set belongs to Maria Sharapova thus far. An insurance break for a 3-love start.
3 games, 2 love, second set. First set, Wozniacki.
And that's a lot of what we saw in the first set from Wozniacki. A little bit more aggressive, better return off the court. And just great job moving in, taking this ball out of the air. Short angle volley, cross-court winner.
The fact that we haven't seen that over the course of the last 5 games or so, going even back to the end of the first set, which Wozniacki won, is that more of Maria imposing herself, or did Caroline go away from the strategy a bit?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think Caroline, after she won that first set, I think she relaxed a little bit too much. She was playing a little bit further behind the baseline, which caused her to retrieve a little bit too much, and it allowed Maria to step up and take control of more points. So I think it was a little bit of both.
Maria making it difficult for Caroline, and Caroline just easing off the gas a bit.
Maria is always so strong in that swing volley position from any area in the court. She tends to hit that pretty well, even from a deep position. Good scrambling here from Wozniacki. Good job, Maria, getting low on that ball. And again, even moving backward, just great balance on that swing volley.
She had it dialed up. Wozniacki knows it. If she can clear the high part of the net down the line, she'd be looking at break point. She kicks the ball in frustration. What could have been now is actually more likely to end up with Sharapova taking all 4 games to start the set. And that's indeed what happens. Sharapova all over Wozniacki. 4 games played, 4 games by her name as she seeks a 3rd set. Well, don't forget, if you want to stay connected to the U.S. Open when you're on the go, one of those handheld devices, I don't know if you have an iPad, Android, iPhone, you can go to usopenshop.org and get merchandise right there. Just dial it up, pick the hoodie, the size, pick a coffee cup with the 2014 logo, whatever you want. It'll be shipped right to you wherever you are in the world. It's as simple as that,
Pretty
Joe.
cool.
Yeah. That's at usopenshop.org. We're also appreciating all of your input on Twitter at US Optimum 2014 from everywhere. From Afghanistan to Alaska, Philippines to Pakistan, India to Nigeria. A lot of people commenting about Maria Sharapova, not only her style of play and how powerful she can be, but how powerful her, well, she exerts her enthusiasm with each ground stroke. How should we say that? All right,
that was well said. I thought scream.
Some people take exception. Wozniacki hit a bit of a rough patch, and she really has to be careful. Now to get to 15 all, you can see little things starting to worry her. Body language not quite as strong as it was at the outset of the match. Here's a chase review. See if we can overturn the call.
15. Miss Wozniacki has 2
And that doesn't work either.
Great job from Wozniacki there. Again, that's what she did better in the first set than she has the second set. She really moved the ball around, took advantage of the power off of Sharapova's return, and just redirected it beautifully down the line.
All right then. Hour and 23 minutes into the match, and Caroline decides it's time to hit a backhand winner. She was pacing herself, was waiting for the right moment.
But she took more risks in that first set like that. She went for those shots a little bit more in the first set than she has so far in the second.
And the hold, finally on the board in set number 2. Trying to keep Sharapova within reach. Fourth round in New York. Sharapova has shored up her game considerably in this second set. You see all the unforced errors, the outpouring of miscues in the opening frame. Well, only 6 in set number 2. That is certainly one way of turning around your fortunes. She's also been able to get at Wozniacki's serve a few times. Twice to be exact, a couple of breaks to start off, a 4-love beginning. Wozniacki is held for 4-1. But there has been a not so subtle shift in momentum.
Yeah, a pretty one-sided match in the second set. Sharapova really just upped her level, cut down on those unforced errors, but also more winners overall throughout this second set for Sharapova. "13 winners so far this set for Sharapova over Wozniacki's 5.
Doesn't post a lot of aces generally. There's a pair for Sharapova thus far. Not her fastest serve of the day either. She's cranked one out for her at 110 miles per hour. That's pretty big. That was 101. But it's not really about that. It's finding some accuracy, putting Caroline Wozniacki on her heels, and really just trying to find a way into a rally where she hopes and feels confident when she can dictate from both sides. Remarkable what Sharapova's been able to do, set herself up post-tennis. Not as if she needs it per se with all the endorsement money and prize money. She certainly earned her $30 million plus prize money total, and that's just in her on-court accomplishments. But she's not content with that. She's headed for mogul status. The myriad myriad of lucrative deals and off-court endorsements with car companies and this and that. She's also set up some pretty impressive ventures in the business world, a Nike apparel collection that other players, including Eugenie Bouchard, wear, Madison Keys. She has a Cole Haan collection, and of course, who can forget Sharapova? A line of candy, sweet treats. Sometimes she hands them out in the locker room, I understand, Jill. I've never been there myself, so I can't say.
She has. It's very good, but it's sugar, so of course it's going to be good.
Well, that's part of her plan while she's playing. Let's load you guys down with a lot of sugar.
That's right.
You know, put on a couple of pounds. Let's see how you move around the court. As her career extends and lengthens on, any advantage she can get. Maria's a fierce competitor. Half a dozen double faults to go along with the 2 aces we showed you moments ago. But really not sweating it out too much. Easing towards 5-1.
Amazing with all that entrepreneurial work she's done that she can come out here and focus as well as she does for every match.
Yeah, it's borderline ridiculous to think she can apply so much time to pursuits off court while right in the crux of what has been, you know, the prime of her career.
And it's no doubt about it that she has a great support group around her helping her out with those things, but she likes to be involved with her other work.
Yeah, you don't expect her to be the type that just says, you know what, I want to just do 5 days in the Maldives. You know, just sit on a chair, kick my feet up, relax, not think about anything. Maybe a Mai Tai or something. That's at
maybe
least
just to think about her next business move.
Possibly. Wozniacki trying to salvage something in this second set. A hold would accomplish at least part of that. She might not get the chance. Sharapova is just firing on all cylinders, literally. We showed you the graphic in the opening set. 13 winners. Maria in set number 2, 15. A third of the errors that she committed in the opening set. And where her shots were missing the mark and extending beyond the confines of the painted court, now she's finding her way exactly where she wants to hit with great accuracy.
But you said it exactly, she found her way. She wasn't hitting that close to the line in the beginning of the second set. She had to find her range, but now she feels more comfortable. She can go for a little bit more.
That's it.
Amazing taking that out of the air from Wozniacki. She was inside the court. That was her only option. That's one of Caroline's strengths right there, the backhand down the line. Really just redirects that ball down the line so well.
Say 30.
There's the aforementioned Piotr Wozniacki. Always been her father. Has gone back and forth as far as his coaching duties, particularly of late, but he's back in the driver's seat in that regard too. They really have a marvelous relationship. In the past, you've heard so many difficult stories of fathers and their daughters in the professional tennis circuit. This is a good one. It works. Mutual respect. Caroline knows her father was a professional athlete, so he can empathize in certain situations with her as well. He's got a very tactical mind.
Yes.
Not only is it hard to step away as your father, but it's hard to step away when you've been a professional athlete and you know the mindset, you know the game. You feel like you can help your daughter, but they do seem to have a really good relationship and it tends to work really well for both of them.
You can understand why they're excited. What an entertaining point.
Yeah, great point here from both players. What a great stab there. Barely goes over the net, but good job, Maria, moving up, but just created less time for herself by going for a little bit more on that shot. Good guessing by Wozniacki, good anticipation.
There's a little thing they like to call in sports hand-eye coordination.
That was just an incredible pickup. I mean, Wozniacki hit such a good deep ball and Sharapova just flicking it down the line. Just such good hands on that ball.
And rolling over the top to get some topspin, which isn't a hallmark of Maria's ground strokes, but just had to get through there quickly and finds a way. Another winner, 18 in the set. A return to deuce. Yeah. The previous point just informed her. Maria says, okay, if I can pick that up and blast a winner, you know what? I'm going to pick a spot right over there to the backhand and fire away.
Sharapova just has such good turn on her ground strokes. It's tough to tell where she's going.
Thank you.
Wozniacki had to guess on that one.
Set point for Maria.
Yes.
Fighting it off, redirecting the backhand. No fuss, no muss from Wozniacki.
Wozniacki saying, I can do that to you too.
That's why this match was so anticipated. The level of play from both coming into this round of 16 match, very high. Wozniacki up to the task, saves set point. Really doesn't want to squander serve here, does Caroline? It puts her in a tough spot, not only because it would go to a third set straight away, but she doesn't want to give Sharapova the chance to serve first.
No matter what the score is, you always want to fight until the end. Puts a little bit more pressure on your opponent going into a third set.
Second game of this set lasted just a couple seconds shy of 9 minutes, so we've had some long encounters. One on Sharapova's serve, which she managed to get the hold for 2-love, extended that lead to 4-love in the set, and Now Wozniacki fighting for presence in set number 2 herself. Terrific scramble by Wozniacki. About 4 strokes prior to just put the ball back in play. The lob allowed her to get to neutral ground, and from that point on, they just exchanged until Maria blinked.
Good variety from Wozniacki, too. She could have definitely stepped up and hit that backhand, but chose to slice it. A little bit different look, different spin.
Wozniacki showed a call on the right baseline. Ball was called in.
Must be intriguing. It looked as if the ball almost picked up a little extra velocity, and that would mean it skidded off the paint, but Wozniacki says no, it didn't. And she'd be right. It was long. And Caroline's on the board for a second time. It'll be up to Maria Sharapova to try to hold serve and force a decider. A spot in the quarterfinals at stake between 2 former number 1s. Walking around the grounds here at the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, a little straw poll amongst the people, both some journalists and fans, some of the ushers, some of the commentators. What do you think of the match with Sharapova and Wozniacki? How do you think it's going to play out? The dominant answer, that thing's going 3 sets. They're all starting to look pretty smart right about now, including on Twitter. Everybody thinking this was destined for 3. Well, Maria Sharapova can make that happen. It's a simple prospect, really, Maria. If you hold serve for the 21st time this year, you'll be playing in a 3-set match. That's exactly what she hopes to do. Serving from the south end, trying to make it 1-set-all inside Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Great first point by Wozniacki. Definitely Sharapova feeling pretty good in this position, but Wozniacki, good job, wants to stay aggressive, even if she loses the 2nd set, so she can go into the 3rd set feeling a little bit stronger. Another great pickup from Sharapova there. She just does such a good job on those deep balls of really accelerating her racket head. She finds that extra spin to bring it down into the court.
Yeah, sometimes it can be dizzying. I mean, our vantage point is a little bit higher, to say the least, than that of the camera. But the angle and the depth of how Maria Sharapova was able to curve that ball into the back corner, remarkable. And she was able to do so with not her standard swing.
And she just stays with the ball so well. Doesn't look ahead at all.
And then she
And then
fires
she looked ahead a little bit on that one, but
a benign forehand that sails long. It's just confounding sometimes to figure how she's able to do some of the things she does with a racket. And then, well, just a simple forehand. She's hit close to 563,000 times.
if someone's
Misses
playing
the mark.
like that, it's hard to get a little bit of a rhythm. Winners, errors, it's hard to find your rhythm a little bit. That's just too good. Not a bad play here from Caroline, really putting the pressure on. Good aggressive play. Sharapova, again, just the racket head acceleration. Just flicks it cross court.
Has herself set point. Not quite there yet. Sharapova trying to finish this off, get to the third set. Remarkably, in their first 7 meetings, only one of those 7 contests went the full complement of sets between these two. That was 2 years ago in Miami in the semifinals. Sharapova coming back from a 6-4 dropped opening set to move through to the final. Crowd loves it. They want this set to continue. And they're dazzled by the brilliance of Caroline Wozniacki. When she gets in position and can strike this backhand, it's a thing of beauty.
It is. That is definitely one of her strengths, that backhand down the line. But she put herself in a great position. Backhand cross court. Just really good job of staying low on that last backhand down the line.
Well, you can't say Caroline hasn't had her looks.
It's definitely not a bad miss from Caroline. She's been more aggressive in these last few games. She struggled a little bit in the beginning of the second set, got a little bit more tentative, but she's going to lose this set. She wants to lose it, being aggressive. What a smart shot by Sharapova. She's getting such good depth on her balls here. And really makes a smart choice to try and hit that short. Wozniacki so far behind the baseline.
Yeah, can't close in a second set point for Maria. Missed out on the first chance. Let's see how she fares to get to a decider. Got it, and as predictable as Sharapova can be of late, particularly for the 22nd time in 51 matches this year, she'll go to a third set. She likes her chances. She's won 17 of the previous 20. So for just the second time in now their 8th meeting, a third set will decide who advances to the quarterfinals. Sarah Arani waits amongst the last 8, and Caroline Wozniacki from the north end will serve first inside Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Sharapova coming out like we'd expect her to, really
There's nothing
getting
you can
all
do.
over
Secured everything, but it's just
Wozniacki's
windy.
second serve, excuse me.
There's Maria Sharapova of Croatia. Mentioned her in the chair umpire position. Has quickly become one of the more respected chair umpires on the WTA Tour, as well as at major events.
15.
And again, we're not entirely sure Sharapova was given a warning for time, but there certainly was a discussion that seemed to agitate Maria. As we know, right back to business, as is her modus operandi. Both players losing just one set en route to the 4th round. Losing additional here to force this deciding set. Wozniacki lost the 2nd set against Magdalena Rybarikova before leading 2-love in the 3rd. The Slovakian retired in that match. And in the 2nd round against Alexandra Dogaru of Romania, Maria lost the opening set 6-4, identical to her start here in the 4th round, before coming back and winning that in 3. But again, this is very familiar territory for Maria. Her 21st 3-set match of 2014 with a 17-3 record. Good extension from Wozniacki to put Sharapova on the run.
A great job by Caroline here. That
That's it,
backhand
that's it.
slice, setting up that backhand down the line for her. Just one of her strengths, just using it really well in that point.
And this is key for Caroline. You could almost say paramount.
Wozniacki.
Needed to hold to begin the set, not only to give herself the advantage,
First
but to
game,
also put that
consensus.
pressure on Sharapova, forcing her to hold to play catch-up. But before we think more about set number 3, let's look back for a moment at set number 2.
And both first serve percentage very evenly, almost evenly matched from both players. Again, 22 winners from Sharapova over Wozniacki's 9 winners. That was the big difference in set number 2. Unforced errors, not so much of a factor, but those winners are what really stand out. And again, it was on Sharapova's racket. Wozniacki retreated just a little bit, so allowed Sharapova to step up and hit a lot more winners in that 2nd set.
Is there something about Maria that it has become so contagious that she plays so many 3-set matches? Is it a slow start? I mean, this is 8 of her last 11 matches. She's had to go to 3 sets.
Well, I think a lot of our opponents come out and they know they need to come out to a strong start. And so I think her opponents play really well from the beginning, but they know Sharapova is so good at keeping that pressure on. And I think they just sort of allow her to come back into the match a little bit.
Well then, third set's going to be fun.
But what I was saying was, I mean, I think Sharapova creates that pressure, and I do think
15.
Wozniacki retreated a little bit, but Sharapova did adjust her game. She was making a lot of unforced errors, and she did bring her targets in a little bit, and she found her range. So I think that is a difference as well. It's not only that Wozniacki retreated, but Sharapova did up her level.
Sharapova trying to improve to 18-3 in three-set matches here, and I think that really illustrates one point that I think sometimes gets missed when talking about Maria Sharapova. That point also will further support this, well, hypothetical remarks. In Maria's case, with all her off-court exploits and the glamour that's associated with it, and she is the glamour girl of women's professional tennis, but you have to wonder, is there anybody who is and exceptions, of course, for Serena Williams, world #1, but doesn't take a single point off, not a single game, not a single match. She shows up each and every time. And again, not to take anything away from Serena, who's a tremendous fighter and a fantastic athlete, and quite frankly, the best tennis player in the world, particularly on the women's side, is that sometimes Serena wavers. Her attention span seems to just lose focus. She can kind of drift through matches. You never see that with Maria.
You're absolutely right, Kevin. You do see that wavering, not only from Serena sometimes, but from the majority of players. There are games here and there where you can see players lose focus a little bit, but Maria takes her time. She walks back to that backdrop before every point. She regains her focus. She's there for every point, and that's what makes her so dangerous.
And that's not to take anything away from any other player.
Of course
it's
not.
natural. I mean, you're on tour for weeks on end.
But the other players talk about it. How focused she is, and she's one of the best competitors out there.
Struggling through hot, humid conditions. You could just have a lack moment for a week or somewhere, but not Maria. And even when she gets down on herself, she never really gets down on herself. I should take that back, because even when she's having difficulty like she did in the opening set with all the unforced errors, not able to find her measure of the court, not producing as she'd like, she just gets back to her routine, back to the court, focus her attention, right back at it. It's admirable. But Wozniacki, she's not intimidated in the slightest. There you go. Backhand we've talked about all match long. For Caroline, she's able to produce once more from that side. It took her a while to dial it in. Now she's hit 5 winners, and this one's a beauty.
Just really steps up and goes for that shot. She feels very comfortable off that backhand side, especially down the line.
Sharapova, well, she lets out a scream because she knows it wasn't easy, but she's at even terms for 1-all.
Really trying to pump herself up there. She can feel that Wozniacki is playing a little bit stronger at the beginning of this third set.
Who do you think's the best fighter in the women's game? Let's hear from you. Join the discussion. Go to our Twitter account. It's at US Optimum 2014. Send a note to myself, Jill. Tell us who you think's the best fighter in women's tennis currently amongst active players. Sharapova has to be one of the choices you have, but Caroline Wozniacki could also be in your thought process. Obviously, Serena Williams. We welcome your input. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from. And the fact that you can hear Sharapova, not the grunts during points, but after the come-ons and stuff, lets you know how seriously she's taking this and how seriously she's taking the threat from Wozniacki.
Exactly. I mean, she knows Wozniacki is such a great fighter as well, and it's going to be a competitive third set. She's really trying to pump herself up for every point.
You think the Twin Sphere is going to light up when you ask who the best fighter in women's tennis is?
Good job from Wozniacki right now, staying focused. Sometimes when you hear your opponent scream out a little bit, getting all fired up, it's easy to get distracted, but Wozniacki doing a good job right now of staying focused within herself.
It's never really been in question, the mental fortitude of Caroline Wozniacki. You can't be a two-time year-end #1 and not be strong and tough, even under pressure. She knows what's at stake in this match and this third set in particular. Not just the three-game slide she suffered to Sharapova of late, but also the fact there's a major quarterfinal at stake. The site of the only final she's reached in her career.
It's 2-1, final set.
Goodness, Jill Krabus, did we open up a flood of Pandora's box of Twitter responses? So far, it seems that Serena and Maria are, in most people's opinion, the best fighters amongst women's tennis professionals.
And for good reason.
Couple responses. Paul, WTA tennis fan, says, biggest fighter? Annoyingly, Maria, the amount of time she comes back from her breakdown to win. So begrudgingly, Paul is giving Maria the edge. From South Africa, Luke says Serena Williams, and there is no match. Well, okay, all right. We're just asking. Even Mozambique. Claudio saying, Arani, Sarah Arani is a true fighter. Okay, very good. The Italian in the mix. Sharapova serving 1-2 in this decisive set. Brain dead.
I love 50.
That's the name that popped up. That's not the Twitter account, but that's the name they're using. Says, I think Serena is being a fighter. She's more tougher, but attitude-wise, Maria. Keep them coming.
I think those are great. I think they're all great. You can't really argue with Serena or Maria at this point.
Love it. Back and forth they go.
Might have to throw Wozniacki
Well, yeah.
in the mix too. That was great fighting on that point.
At yes_it's Tio says no doubt Sharapova, then Serena, then Caroline, also mentioning Angelique Kerber. Ria from Durban, South Africa says Maria is the best fighter ever, exclamation point, no doubt. So they're impassioned as well as opinionated.
Well, Maria's definitely proved herself this year with all the 3-set matches that she's won. Without
question. D says Victoria Azarenka is my choice. This is sustaining pressure and staying focused. And that's where it has to come. There is going to be a supreme need to be able to focus here on the important points. And right now, Caroline Wozniacki, she is the more focused of the two.
And Caroline just playing such a great aggressive game right now. She saw that ball land short and just ran right through it. Charging the net. She's 3 break points.
Caroline says, get up, out of your seats. Who's with me?
What impressive
game
from
Wozniacki.
in that point. And that's what she does so well.
Wozniacki
Forces her opponents to try and make that one extra
3
shot.
games to 1.
And that's the pressure that she's putting on Sharapova right now.
And she's rewarded for her effort, not just the point, but the game, and now out in front with a 3-1 lead. Great stuff, as only a crowd like this in New York can enjoy. They are loud, they're boisterous, they're not afraid to show their emotion, and neither is Caroline Wozniacki. She loved it, serving to consolidate the break. That's not to demean or diminish the enthusiasm in Melbourne, Paris, or London. But you know how New Yorkers, they don't hold back their opinions. Forget about it. It was terrific stuff.
And that was all about the quality of that point. There are definitely Maria fans and Wozniacki fans.
Interesting note coming from, and I think we have to put it in perspective once again, at Nunya Yogi, 1234, it says, your praise of Maria as being the best competitor is suspect. Ever seen her play Serena? Serena breaks her at will. Well, I mean, you have a point considering the 16-2 lifetime edge that Serena holds over Maria, but that's not the point we were trying to make. Not the best competitor, the best fighter, the one who stays in each and every point always. I'm not saying Serena might not be that person, but think of the WTA Championships match last year, Serena versus Lina in the final. And there was a moment where Serena, granted she was probably tired, it had been a long season, one of the great years, but just a couple points seemed to go away.
I think that has a lot to do with the type of matchup. Some players struggle with other players, and no matter, like, the style of game sometimes don't match up quite well, and Serena's game might not match up quite so well with Maria's. And obviously there's something about Serena's game where Maria struggles with.
Oh, does she struggle? Hasn't beat her since 2004 when she beat Serena twice.
But Maria, when she played, I mean, there's a level of respect there, but when she comes out and plays Serena, she's still going to fight for every point, and I think that's what we're talking about.
Exactly. So thanks for your input. Serena is awaiting Maria in the final here in New York City. It's going to take a heck of an effort for Maria to come back here. She needs to find a way to disrupt the flow that Caroline Wozniacki has put forth. A chase review, we'll see if that can start it.
Ball stands. 40-30.
The call stays as it was called out. Sharapova will lose a challenge in the set.
Yes.
I think we'll put a cap on it for the moment. Say that Michael Brill says, perhaps maybe says it's best. Serena's the best at raising her level when needed. Sharapova's level is more consistent each match. Thanks for your input at US Optimum 2014. Here's Wozniacki's bid for 4-1. And she's got it.
Great combination there from Wozniacki. Good out wide serve, stretches Maria, gets her off the court and just open backhand cross court winner.
Just as she wanted. Her 21st winner now gives her that chance for 4 of the first 5 games of this third set. Not quite done with it yet.
Yes. Advantage, Wozniacki.
Some frustration from Maria. But again, she does such a good job of resetting herself, getting ready for the next point.
Kudos to Wozniacki, too, for just allowing herself to not be distracted by anything. Just plays her game. She looks to benefit. Second try at 4-1. Got it done. 2 games away from the quarterfinals. Caroline Wozniacki trying to end a 3-game slide to Sharapova.
Wozniacki leads 4 games to 1, final set.
3 straight games for Caroline Wozniacki. She tries to stem the tide of 3 consecutive matches she has lost to Maria Sharapova. Her best result at a major came right here on this very court back in 2009. She lost to Kim Clijsters, the only time she's reached a final. Since then, plagued constantly by, will you ever get back to a final? You're a former #1. Will you ever win a major? Maybe 2014 US Open could be a year when she says, I'm going to make a deep push. And she's doing well against the 5 seed and 2006 champion here, Maria Sharapova. Sharapova serving 1-4 in set number 3. Just her 3rd ace of the day. She tries to mount another comeback.
Starting off this game really well. Good 2 first serves. She's gonna have to serve well to climb back in this 3rd set.
On the gun, 173.8 kilometers per hour to pick up her 2nd ace of the game. Maria wastes no time to cut the lead in half. That was right around a minute or so, and she's able to blast 2 aces and hold it love. Arguably the easiest service game of the match, though she did hold it love back in game number 2 of this set.
She needed that quick service game to gain a little bit more confidence in this third set. It's always nice when you have an easy game like that.
Well, now it comes down to, can Caroline Wozniacki close? Is this the time when she can step up? A couple holds to serve, she's into the Elite 8. The other aspect that might be intriguing is that Mother Nature might be intervening on this Sunday. We've had spectacular weather through the first 6 days, but there are some heavy winds coming in. With it, it's bringing weather out of the west. Some lightning is being reported off in the distance. Where there's lightning, oftentimes there's rain. Sharapova trying to rain on Wozniacki parade right here. Looking to fight back. Game number 7. Down a break.
Good job by Sharapova. Good deep ball. Again, steps in the court, sees the open court. The players are very aware of that weather coming in. They can feel it. Sometimes the temperature drops a little bit. A little bit more wind.
You get the feeling Piotr is feeling a little more like Dad right now. Forget the coaching aspect. Okay, you're doing well there. His daughter trying to get past Sharapova. A point from giving herself a fine 5-2 lead. It'll go a long way towards accomplishing the stated goal of reaching the quarterfinals. The last teenager to win the U.S. Open was that woman, 2006, at the age of 19. Maria Sharapova, champion in New York, one of her 5 major titles. Last year did not travel here to the Big Apple to compete in the U.S. Open. In fact, missed most of the last half of last year with a right shoulder injury. She's never out until they say the match is over. For Maria Sharapova, she serves to stay in set number 3 and the tournament, while Caroline Wozniacki faces Sara Errani in the quarterfinals.
Sharapova, you saw her hold up her hand with the ball. That means she's serving with new balls. The balls will go through the air a little bit faster. They tend to fly a little bit more. Good strategy to put a little bit more spin on the ball when you have new balls. That's worked well for Wozniacki so far this match. The inside-out backhand to the forehand of Sharapova, really stretching her wide on that side. She's gotten quite a few errors off the Sharapova forehand.
One of the big victories for Caroline Wozniacki against Maria Sharapova. She's only had 2, was 4 years ago. She's trying to dial it back up. In this very round, she defeated Sharapova in straight sets. It hasn't been that easy today, but she does hold match point.
14.
Well, she did it as she wanted to do. She finishes the match with a winner to become the winner. It wasn't a defensive spectacle for Caroline Wozniacki. She came out ready to play and to take down Maria Sharapova, who has been silenced in New York, as the great Dane moved through to the last 8 with a 6-4, 2-6, 6-2 victory. Well, Joe Kravis, a pretty spectacular match. It lived up to much of it. A little bit downside for Maria Sharapova is she couldn't keep her level of play as high as she had hoped for the third set, but that is really all credit where it's due. Caroline Wozniacki was fantastic when it mattered most, particularly in the big points.
I don't necessarily think Sharapova played a bad third set. I think Wozniacki just really lifted her level. You saw her play more similar in the third set as she did in the first set, that more aggressive style play. She wasn't scared to move forward. We saw her retreat a little bit in the second set, and Sharapova lifted her level, and that made the difference in that set. But in the end, credit to Wozniacki for getting over that second set, lifting her level, and playing more aggressive, and she deserved to win in the end.
Absolutely, and now she's into the quarterfinals. She'll face
Caroline.
Sarah
How about
Running.
that sweet Caroline in the stadium?
Yeah, that's amazing. You know, I can't describe the feeling being down here and playing in front of this amazing crowd. You know, this is why we practice, and this is amazing. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting today.
Caroline, you've had an amazing summer. How much does it mean to have this huge win here at the U.S. Open?
It means so much to me. You know, it's been a bit up and down this year for me. So, you know, this U.S. hardcourt season has been really great. And to win today, you know, against a champion like Maria, you know, it's an unbelievable feeling.
How were you able to get the momentum back early in the third set?
You know, I think the first 2 sets from both of us maybe weren't the highest quality. You know, it was really difficult with the wind. But I think we both picked it up in the third set and, you know, played some great tennis.
Caroline, you're training for the New York Marathon, and you ran a lot in this match. How much has that training helped you for days like today?
It definitely has helped me. You know, I don't know what I've gotten myself into with running the New York City Marathon, but it's going to be an unbelievable experience. And, you know, I'm running it for... I'm running it for charity. I'm doing it for Team for Kids, underprivileged kids, to start into sport and get a healthier lifestyle. So if any of you want to help donate and raise some money for that cause, you know, look at my Twitter. You know, all the information is there.
You won't be running any extra this afternoon for it, will you?
I think this afternoon I'm just going to take an ice bath, have a massage, and chill, and I think I deserve to have some chocolate or something.
Absolutely. Finally, Caroline, You're back in the quarterfinals for the first time since 2011. You take on the Italian Sara Errani. What are your thoughts on that matchup?
You know, right now I'm just so happy to be through now. Sarah is a tough opponent. She gets so many balls back, so I need to stay aggressive and just enjoy it. You know, quarterfinals again here is incredible.
Congratulations, Caroline. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Back to you, Bill.